live. Hello. While everything comes on live, my podcast channel always comes on live a little bit first before all the live media. I'm Dr. Paul Dyer. Welcome to Bridges Live Presents Genius is Common. And we have the founder, creator, Mr. Bruce George. Before we get into that, this is going to be, I want people to take their time, and they see me, they hear me, they see what we do, they hear what we do, but I want you to get a notebook out, and I'll tell you why. Because when you plan on getting a notebook, and you can always replay this, and I hope you do, you can always replay something that's going to catch your heartstrings, going to catch your mind, for you to allow you to say, I can be that too. And I too can be that. So be able to listen and to hear yourself into possibilities. I don't think a lot of people hear things and think of possibilities. They think of one days, that's wishful thinking. They think of some days, that's hopeful thinking. But they don't think of possibilities as in it can happen. Bruce, welcome to Bridges Live. Genius is Common. What do you think about what I just said, first of all, about possibilities?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to look at the possibilities of life. A lot of people get caught up in potential. There's a saying that says potential means you ain't do nothing yet. So in terms of the possibilities, everything is possible and all things are possible. But first and foremost, I would have liked to thank the good Lord for blessing me to be here before you. I would like to thank you, brother, Dr. Dyer, for having me on your show. I'm going to thank people that are watching live and who will watch or tune in to the archive. So I definitely always like to pay homage to my Heavenly Father for blessing me to be here before you. So I'm excited. You and I had a nice powwow the last time we've spoken. It was a Kodak moment, and I'm looking forward to that Kodak moment again.
Most people know, if they listen to me, that I have 9 children and 9 grandchildren. But if people don't ever hear me, I'm originally from New York. And when I end up talking to my New York brother here, we kind of fall back and I don't want you to think, forgive us, but we'll get into what you call the boogie down Bronx way.
Exactly.
Well, because keeping it real, everyone says, let's keep it 100. Bump that noise. A lot of people don't keep it 100 because they don't even know how to get to 90. Why is that? They say they want to keep it 100, but they don't know how to pick up speed. So how can they keep it 100 when they never even reach their full potential?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's a quote that says, nothing so much prevents one from being natural as a desire to appear natural, right? And so people have a tendency to read further into things or to puff themselves up to be bigger than what they actually are. And it's nothing like just being yourself. Bottom line is Shakespeare's Hamlet.
Yes.
Polonius was like, to thine own self be true, that thou cannot be false to any man.
Right.
And Paul Mooney said it best. He said, God bless Paul Mooney. He said, the audience is like wolves. They can sense it, right? So it's challenging enough just being who you are, much likewise faking the funk, or in New York, as we say, being fugazi. So I'm dating myself with that.
But here's the thing. We've heard this term before, and I tried to kick it out of the universe. Fake it until you make it. I don't know where that came from. I really don't. I remember hearing that for such a long time. If you got to fake it until you make it. That creates such a detriment to who you could become.
Right.
It takes away first of all, it takes away who you are, because you got to know where you are before you begin to go where you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And fake it until you make it destroys all that.
Yeah.
So why do you think that came about? Just us talking, because you started an amazing movement. Genius is Common. And we'll get into that, why you started it that way. But it kind of goes along with, there's a bridge to that, the fake it till you make it, and how that is so, it was hurtful and harmful.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the thing is this, I study power. One of my geniuses is that power. And when you study power, you realize that throughout history, in terms of power, how people maintain their power, they have to make themselves appear what they really aren't.
Okay.
Okay. So in the so-called hood, we used to wear these big bomber jackets to make us look bigger than what we actually are.
Right.
Here it is. You're 110 pounds wet, but you got all this baggy clothing on that makes you think like you look bigger than what you are. All you do is you're just like a skinny dude in a big coat.
Right.
Right. Or Sun Tzu, the art of war. Make your enemies think you're near when you're far. Make them think you're far when you're near. Right. So a lot of that is rooted in survival. Right. Now, you get a pass if you're doing that in reference to survival. But you don't get a pass from people like you and I if you're just faking the funk just for the sake of faking the funk and not being true to who you really are as an individual. And it's not rooted in survival. It's rooted in you wanting to be somebody you're not being comfortable or loving yourself enough to be genuine and acting and moving in your own authenticity, right? If you're doing it for that reason, then you don't get a pass from it.
Here's where I think the trip and fall is. I don't think, and I've said this before, black men, black community, the black African American community has been so traumatized for so many years that they want to represent something that they believe they should be.
Mm-hmm.
And they're stuck in survival. And if you're stuck in survival on a neural level, on a neural brain level, you are still stuck in darkness. That
Absolutely.
is the oldest part of the brain. Is that amygdala that is just that freeze, fight, or flight. That's the most barbaric part of your brain. It was made for saber-toothed tigers, and we're so past that. But if you're faking the funk and you trying to fake it till you make it, then you're never going to live.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and it's beyond the amygdala. It's more reptilian, in terms of. So even on a more earlier level than that, it's more reptilian. Ozzie Davis said it best. He said, being an African American, however, implies that something at the core of your existence is in crisis mode or will be at some point in life.
Right.
He's also said all struggles between the power to resist and the power to oppress. Right. And so it's one of those things that we as people of so-called color, we've gone through quite a bit. Right.
Right.
And so we have gone through quite a bit. But at the same token, we are a lot stronger than we give ourselves credit for, that we are a lot stronger than we allow ourselves to be, right? Take, for instance, with this whole pandemic situation. People getting cabin fever because they have to social distance. I've been social distancing.
Yeah.
Right? So I wasn't missing any of that. I mean, I wanted people to give me 10 feet, 12 feet. Like, dude, you all up in my nostrils, right? So the thing is, it's like we just get comfortable in our uncomfortability, and we forget the shoulders that we are riding on of these giants, men and women, meaning our ancestors that were really, really, really strong,
right,
and really put the work in and didn't make any excuses about anything. They just kept their chin up, strapped their boots up, and kept it pushing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you get a lot of people that will, for whatever reason, they fall on their sword, right? But then you get people that are real true soldiers out here. So, and I'm one of them, and you're one of them, generals or whatever. So it's those individuals that are really stand up, that are really about getting it pushing, that's going to be and survive. And you're right about the fact that in terms of the vibrational piece, that if you stay in that vibration of being someone you're not, or what that does is it just reinforces, and it causes cognitive dissonance.
Right.
Because you're not being true to who you are. So now you're being cognitively dissonant, right? Mm-hmm. And so that causes mental issues and a whole lot of other things that can, spurn from that. But the best advice we can give people is to be yourself. To be yourself.
And before you can be yourself, and you said this, know thyself to be true. How? I look at it this way. Some people say, well, Dr. P, how did you become to know yourself? I died. I emotionally, mentally died to reborn myself. I didn't remake myself, but I realized that before, yes, I was molested as a young boy, right? Yes, I've been through PTSD as a soldier. But that all had to die away so I can be reborn into the person I am today. That stuff was just stuff, but it held on top of my head before I can understand that I was the creator, right? The creator's within me to allow me to be created. That stuff was just holding me back because it was an illusional state that I put upon myself emotionally and what happened to me physically, and it thought that was supposed to define me, and it was never going to define me. It held me back, if anything.
Right. I mean, the thing is this. You're absolutely right about that. We have to learn how to dig deep down inside of ourselves and just pull the best in us out. I mean, it's a constant renewing of ourselves. Absolutely. It's a constant. I mean, the Buddhists. I mean, we lost. We didn't lost because we don't die. We transition. Right. Thich Nhat Hanh recently transitioned, a Zen master Buddhist. So God bless him and his family and his followers or what have you. And the Buddhists say it best. They say everything inter R and inter B. Right. The so-called good has the seeds of bad. Day has the seeds of night. Love has the seeds of hate. It's the same thing with the Kabbalion. You got the principle of mentalism. The world is the mind, the universe is mental. And then you got the principle of correspondence. As up top, so below. Right? You got the principle of vibration. That everything has a vibration. Nothing rests, all things vibrate. Right? And then you got the principle of polarity. Right? That everything has its polar opposites. Right? And then you got the principle of rhythm. Right? The flow. Right? And then you got the principle of cause and effect, which speaks for itself. And then you got the last principle, which is the power of gender. Now, let me just speak about the power of gender real quick. And this is for these red pill bros out there. Yeah. Right? The red pill, eating rocks in your jaw. You got rocks in your jaw. Okay, so now you're all up in the intellect. And you're removed from the feminine side of you or the emotional side of you. Now you're getting sick.
That's right. You stripped it away.
You have no emotional side to you.
Correct.
And so now you're operating on straight up adrenaline, not listening to your body, right? And then as a result of that, you get cancer. As a result of that, you get all these mental issues. You get PTSD. You get all different types of things. And by the way, thank you for your service, by the way. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Right? And then not to mention the lack of emotional intelligence that's out there with people.
Correct.
In relationships, not only with themselves, but relationships with others.
If you can't have a relationship with yourself, how can you have a relationship with others? Especially if you don't even know who you are.
Absolutely. You have to know who you are. So you and I know as metaphysicians that everything is about vibration. Pierre de Chardin said it best. We're not human beings having a spiritual experience, but spiritual beings having a human experience. Right. Dr. Wayne Dyer said it best. It's not the notes that makes the music, it's the silence in between the notes that makes the music.
That's right.
Van Zandt said in Acts of Faith, you attract who and what is on your ray. And Esther Hicks says you attract by your words and your vibrational countenance. Right? And so it behooves us as people, as spiritual beings, to raise our vibration. Right? Why did they take prayer out of school?
Why did Catholicism take the singing out of prayer or the rhythmic out of prayer?
That's a very good question. And the reason why is because once you take God out of the institution, and once you take prayer out of it, and you take God out of it, then you're controllable.
Right.
Because now you're operating not on a high vibration, you're operating on a lower vibration, on a more root chakra level where you can be controlled. So when they talk about the secret with Rhonda Byrne, it's not no damn secret.
It's not a secret. It's
not a secret.
And it's not black magic.
It's not. It's simple. It's simple, right? In the Bible, you as a man soweth, so shall he reap. Right? The bottom line. You sow a bad seed, you reap a bad harvest. You treat people right, people treat you right. You cheat on your wife, you will be cheated on.
Yeah.
Right? And she might not cheat on you, she's not that person, but she will leave you, you'll be with somebody else, and they will cheat on you. I mean, it's simple, right? But we complicate things and we think we get away with things. And Dr. Miles Monroe said it best. He says, you don't break the law breaks you. And I want to shout out Dr. Miles Monroe, because him and his family wound up getting killed in that plane accident. I'm not sure. I think it was 6 or 7 years ago. I don't know how long ago it was. But you don't break the law breaks you. You know, and I wrote a quote where it said, in reference to karma, no matter how low you keep your wickedness, karma knows how to limbo.
Yes.
Right? So we get away with nothing. So if you're in a relationship, if you're listening to this and you're in a relationship, whether you're married or not,
but you're in a relationship, right?
You're in a relationship. No matter what you do, you will pay for that. No matter what I do, I will pay for that. If I hurt people, I get hurt. Plain and simple.
So now the movement, and this goes right into geniusness is common.
Okay.
And people have scratched their heads like, especially if they feel like they don't know who they are, they don't know where they can go, they are lost within themselves. They're like, you mean the smart people of the world? You mean the Einsteins of the world? I'm no genius, but I can build a birdhouse. You know, people say these, I'm not this, but I can be this. So they take away their genius from them, from their own selves. Tell us why you built the movement, because this is a movement.
Okay, well, thank you for the platform. First of all, I want people to understand who I am. I'm a lover of God. I'm a child of God. My work is my ministry. I'm a social activist. I'm a firm believer in activism. I was an activist before it was fashionable to be one. I was born in Harlem, raised in the Bronx. I've lived in Brooklyn over 15 years. I'm a New Yorker to the umpteenth percentile. I'm blessed. 3 legacies under my belt. One of the founders of Def Poetry Jam on HBO with Russell Simmons. And we wound up getting a Peabody Award for 6 seasons on HBO and a Tony Award for the Broadway version. I was the town executive at HBO and executive consultant to the Broadway show, and the rest, as they say, is history. I'm right brain and left brain, but I'm classic right brain. And I specialize in psychology, philosophy, classic literature, neurolinguistic programming, metaphysics, body language, the law of attraction. I specialize in power. I'm a wordsmith, word engineer, and a master quotologist. I'm quoted around the world every nanosecond of every single day. I study every single day. I'm a beast with it, right? And so the Genius is Common movement, it got started from one of my quotes, because I would go around the country and I would ask the youth, when you get the word genius, what image comes to mind? And they would always say Einstein or a light bulb. And every now and then, Dr. Dyer, I would get a Jordan, and that troubled me. And I said, you know what, let me write a quote about that. And the quote is, notwithstanding Einstein, genius is common. Then that turned into the slogan, genius is common, was turned into an entire movement. As we speak, we have a presence in all 50 states, 15 countries with 32 ambassadors and growing. We have a presence in Jamaica, Barbados, Ghana, Kenya, Dubai, Norway, Nigeria, the UK, Canada, the Bahamas, St. Lucia. We're about to have a presence in the Dominican Republic and Panama. I'm the head honcho. I run everything and own everything, on the trademark, on the copyright. And I'm the only Facebook group administrator, because we have to keep this close to the belt. So the Genius is Coming movement is the first movement, metaphorically speaking, to put the word genius on trial. We're the first movement to tear down the Berlin Wall of the word genius and put it in the hands of the people where it belongs. So you take a young lady from a housing project that micro braids hair like Picasso painted, that's a genius. Dave Chappelle is a genius of a comedian. Bishop T.D. Jakes is a genius of a bishop. So with that said, we're the first movement to let the world know that they have truly been lied to. So when they say you're only a genius if you have 130, 140 IQ in Mensa, it's pure nonsense. That was an arbitrary number made up at Stanford University to make you 1% of the population, which is rooted in elitism. What they don't want you to know is that the true origin of the word genius doesn't just apply to intellect. Even Einstein said we're all geniuses. And if you to judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, we're spending so life believing that it's stupid.
Right.
The philosopher Buckminster Fuller said that every child is born a genius, but the process of life de-geniuses them. The German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer said that talent is a target that no one else can hit, but genius is a target that no one else can see. So we're the first movement so that the world know that the true origin of the word genius comes from the word genie out of Northern Africa, not ancient Rome. And the genie is the guiding tutelary spirit within each of us. So the genius in us is the genie in us, and the genie in us is the God in us. We've been lied to. And you see, I don't proselytize, Dr. Dyer. I just tell people, we all have a genius seed. Some call it God, which I do. Some call it source energy. And those that believe in God, I take them back to the etymology and I say, let's look at the word genie and Genesis.
And I think a lot of people don't understand the power of words. And I've been saying this for years. The power of words resonate. It rings. There are meaning in the words. It's not just thrown out there. That's why when people say, I'm speaking slang, you might be speaking slang, but you're taking away the power within you to speak the words.
Well, life and death lies within the power of the tongue, and those that love it will eat the fruit thereof, right? And so the GSC movement is the first movement to basically take the elitism out of the word genius. Thus, we are an anti-elitist movement. And those that do believe in God, I'll take them to the etymology and I say, let's look at the word genie in Genesis. Genesis is the beginning. God is the Alpha and the what? Omega. Look at the word genie in your genes, right? Now we can even take it biblically, right? Luke 17:21 said, neither lo here nor lo there, for behold, the kingdom of God is within you. Genesis, we created him in our own image. Psalms, ye are gods with a little g, right? Luke 17:21, and then we could look at 1 Corinthians 3:16. Know ye not that ye are the temple of God and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you.
That's right.
Right? And so...
Because that's where we meet our brothers. We meet our brothers internally.
There you go.
Our brothers and sisters, we meet them internally.
There you go. So when you get into the principle of correspondence in the Kabbalion, right? As of top, so below, that's an African proverb as well, right? In a verse, universe, right? In the universe, one verse, right? There's a reason why they call it one verse, universe. Well, you got the universe and then you have the universe, right? And so the four same elements that's in the universe, which is nitrogen, oxygen, carbon, and hydrogen, are the same four elements that's within each of us. Nitrogen, oxygen, carbon, and hydrogen, right? And so it's important that the listeners and the watchers pay attention to and understand the fact that you attract who and what you are. You attract everything that comes to you. It starts with you and it ends with you.
And I want to add on to that is that when you are resonating, when we talk about frequency, when you resonate in a low frequency, you have extra carbon within your compounds, which makes you sick.
That's a very good point. It does make you sick. Anger causes cancer. Anger causes arthritis, right? Dr. Derek Prince, he's an authority on demons, right? I would implore your audience to go to Derek Prince on YouTube. He's an authority on demons. And he said, demons are not something, they're someone. And he talked about the notion that when a body is possessed, right, what it does is it deforms the body. So arthritis, osteoporosis, all of those different things, and all of those different things, right? Rheumatoid arthritis, a lot of people that have those are demon-filled.
Oh,
they don't know it.
They're internal, right?
Internal, exactly. Right. And once they get delivered from that, then the arthritis unlocks, their hands unlock. So a lot of people that you see with major arthritis and a lot of, osteoporosis and stuff like that, a lot of them, these are generational curses and demons that they've had in them. Anything that can contort the body, a lot of times is demon-filled. And through laying of hands, people have been healed from it,
right.
Through arthritis. And this is factual. This is not no capping, as the young folks say, or this is not no conspiracy theory, which was created by the CIA, and so that's a whole nother conversation, And so what I want the audience to realize is this. Everything has a vibration. Every cuss word that comes out your mouth has a vibration, a low vibration. Every positive word that comes out your mouth has a vibration, a positive vibration. And so this is thing called the notion vibrationally of want versus have. You never get what you want. You only get what you have. And what I mean, I'm not talking vibrationally.
Right.
Whenever you're in a state of want,
yeah.
Vibrationally, you're going to always be in that state of lack, and you'll never get it.
You'll never get it. There's impossible to fill it up when you're in the want. I need, all that. That's also where suffering comes in.
That's where suffering comes from. And the Buddhists talk about the notion that all suffering comes from inappropriate what? Attachment, right? Inappropriate attachment. So when you go into the vibration of I already have it, that's when you get it. And then you can even bring that to the Bible. When you pray for something, pray as if you already have it, and it is yours.
So
and there's another, go ahead.
Why? I'm not asking you to speak for someone else, but it bothered me why people never taught what intentional meant. People just say, just be intentional. Well, there's more to that.
Yeah, there's more intention. There's more than that.
So it's almost like they're hooking them to keep them on the hook to buy the book, to go to the seminars, learn how to be intentional. Right.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because they're using intentionality in terms of controlling you and separating you from your money.
Yes.
But you and I know to be truly intentional is to be in a state of mindfulness.
Yes.
To be in a state of, and even if we were to break it down biblically in terms of, charging the spirit by the spirit, right? So we could break it down biblically, where you try the spirit by the spirit, lean not towards your own understanding, acknowledge him in all your ways, and he will direct your path, right? So you and I know that intentionality, and the Buddhists talk about intentionality in terms of mindfulness. Having staying in the present, staying in and out. Even biblically, God says in the Bible, you cannot put old wine into new bottles. Even biblically, when Lot's wife turned back, she turned into a pillar of salt, right? So you cannot allow yourself to look back, because if you look back, you go back. So because when you focus on the past, that's when you get depressed. When you focus on the future, that's when you get anxious.
That's right.
Right? And so whether you're a Buddhist or not, whether you're a Christian or not, or whether you're spiritual or not, when you understand the law of vibration, the law of correspondence, the law of cause and effect, the law of polarity, right? Then it puts you in a position to stay in the here and the now, and it gives you that gift of discernment.
And I think that's where Dante was talking about when people go through that cycle, they keep going through the pillars of different hells, right?
Hells.
Right.
The different hells. I mean, and then also Dante said it best. He said the hottest places in hell are reserved for those who are in a position of moral crisis who maintain their neutrality. You cannot be on the fence, people. When you are facing a moral crisis, you have to make a decision. And I have news for you. If you don't make a decision, that's a decision.
Okay, and I'm going to ask you this, and thank everyone for listening to Bridges Live and listen to our show Genius is Common with Mr. Bruce George. When people blame the other, when you blame an external, as you stated, you're really blaming yourself.
Blaming yourself. And not only are you blaming yourself, but you're taking power away from yourself by blaming someone. I mean, even the devil is overblamed. The devil is like, damn, like, I didn't do that. All I am is a suggestion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's been said that when the devil comes to a person's transition bed, he will come up to them and he will say, I lied. All he is a suggestion. And even biblically, Dr. Dyer, God says in the Bible that we are not defiled by what comes in us, but we are defiled by what comes out of us. Right? So we cannot keep blaming the devil for things that he has no control over, because we give him the power. We give people the power to use us. We give people the power to abuse us. We teach people how to treat us, plain and simple.
There's so much, and I hope people can ask the question. If they want to contact you, they want to get a hold of you to learn, to listen, to be, right? Where can they get a hold of you? How can they contact you? And what are all those digits?
Well, I'm Googleable. I just put my name, Bruce George, in Google. I'm Google verified. I'm #1 on Google. You can go to geniusiscommon.com. That's geniusiscommon.com. And you can reach me that way. And I mean, I want to thank and shout out everybody that's a part of the Genius is Common movement, all of the members, all of my 32 ambassadors, all of the supporters, such as yourself and others. I want to thank everybody that supported the movement. The movement is about to break mainstream any day, hour, a month now, like Black Lives Matter and the Me Too movements, respectively. We're a YouTube video-based movement. We have 81 celebrities that did Genius is Coming videos. So shouting out all of the celebrities, Malik Yoba, Nikki Giovanni, The Last Poets, Antonio Fargas, Bill Duke, Tarana Burke, who created the Me Too movement. I mean, and the list goes on and on to the break of dawn, right? Shouting everybody out. Stay tuned. The movement is about to break mainstream any day, hour, a month now. Very excited about it. I mean, Garvey said it best. Power concedes. No, it was not. I'm sorry. Frederick Douglass said it best. Power concedes. Nothing without a demand, not without a demand or will. Nothing. You have to have a demand of your time, a demand of your money. It concedes nothing without a demand. Never did and never will. So there's always going to be a demand on your time, your money, your efforts. Dr. Miles Monroe said it best. The longest way to success is a shortcut, right? There are no shortcuts to success.
Now, on another level, me and my wife, we were just so enjoyed our conversation. Are you afraid of assassination?
Absolutely not. Assassination.
Yeah.
First of all, we don't die, we transition.
Correct.
And secondly, in terms of, and Garvey said it best, men in earnest don't concern themselves with consequences.
There you go.
I am a revolutionary. I am a child of God. I'm a lover of God. And if God is for me, who could be against me? You see, this is the way the system works is it gets you rooted in fear.
Yep.
God says in the Bible that fear drives a snare. Mm-hmm. And people that are of faith, we realize that we weren't given a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Mm-hmm. I laugh at so-called death, right? I laugh at it. You see, because the bottom line is I know who I am and I know whose I am.
Yep.
So when I walk down the street, it's like Moses parting the sea. And Fred Hampton said it best, you can kill a revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. That's the bottom line. And you see, the way the system works is the 4 Ds. So when they have people like you and I that are muckraking and are iconoclastic, mm-hmm. the first thing they'll do is they'll dismiss you. Then they'll discredit you. Then they'll demonize you. Then they'll destroy you. Yeah. But you can't destroy me, though. I can't be destroyed. You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? You can't destroy me, right? Because all I would do is transform.
Yep.
And my words are already out there. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube or the genie back in the bottle. The truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it, ignorance may deride it, but in the end, there it is staring you right in your face. Mm-hmm. But you're going to assassinate the truth? Because that's what I stand on.
That's right.
But you're going to assassinate the truth? Because that's what I'm about, right? And the truth goes through 3 stages. First, it is ridiculed. Then it is violently opposed. Then it is accepted as self-evident, right? So bring it. Greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. Bring it.
I love you, brother. Publicly,
love you too,
privately, I love you, my brother.
Love you too, my bro.
You, if you have any questions, please contact Mr. Bruce George, Genius is Common. And I want you to ask yourself this. You have a genius within you. Sure. I want you to speak it because it's there. Not find it. Speak it because it's there.
That's right.
Anything you want to say before we take off? And we'll do this again another time, but we'll...
Up you mighty people, you can accomplish what you will, right? Garvey. Up you mighty people, you can accomplish what you will. Stop walking around in fear during this whole pandemic, this scandemic. This is not our first rodeo. They tried it with Ebola. They tried it with AIDS. They tried it with syphilis. They tried it with everything. This is not our first rodeo. And good will always outweigh bad. love will always outweigh hate, right? So just get some faith in you. You know, have some faith, grow a spine, right? They play on you because they know that you are fearful, and that's what they play on.
And that's
so they choose the path of least resistance. Once they see that you're about it, then they move to the next person.
Yep.
So just have the faith, have a relationship with God, you know, and realize and understand the fact that the God in you is greater than the God that's in the world. He that is in you is greater than he that is in the world. And if God is for you, who could be against you?
Who could be against you? Thank you, everyone. Be kind, be compassionate, and be prepared. I want you guys to stay love, stay laughter, and learn, listen, and share. Thank you, and have a good night.
Amen to that. God bless you.